chair's pretty comfortable. Oh, I didn't get any sleep last night. Whoops. Better get a microphone over here. Yeah, I'm a wreck. And it's mostly because I don't know why, but the computer just decided, for whatever reason, it just decided on its own it wasn't going to work this morning on the network. And that's the first time ever. I mean, like the first time ever. Everything's connected with Ethernet, so it generally doesn't ever have a problem. And it just wouldn't work. I tried to put it on with the wireless connection. It wouldn't work. I went down and got a new cable, thought maybe the Ethernet cable somehow went bad. It wouldn't work. And it didn't work for the longest time. And I kept, running diagnostics and all kinds of things. All the other connections in this room are working. Just the PC wouldn't work. I don't know why. And then it just started working. It just like out of the blue, it just started working. About 20 minutes till, I think it was. And so I quickly put out the little vlog so you could log in. Oh my gosh. But I do really like my new chair. It's really a comfortable chair. I'm not just saying it because they sent it to me. It's really a nice chair. Like I said, Sue sat in it, and she's not easily impressed with anything. And she goes, hey, I like that chair. And so I gave her the other one because she doesn't need the headrest because she doesn't sit up that high. This part here is high enough for her. Anyway, I had a crazy busy weekend, and yet I don't feel like I did anything because I didn't go outside. I mean, I was working indoors the whole time. In the shop or in this room here, one of the two, or in that room there, or in the library room. I'll tell you all about it. It was just really busy, probably the busiest weekend I've had in years. And yet, I bet you if you ask Sue, she goes, well, he just sat in the room all day. He didn't do nothing. Because her and JR worked on hay all weekend, and this is the first time ever I didn't have to get involved. And in case you're wondering about, how tough that would be for them, they bought all kinds of equipment. They got, it's like Cadillac stuff compared to what I had. JR bought we paid for it. We bought it. Sue bought it. A hay, a hay grapple or something like that. It picks up 10 bales, square bales of hay at a time on the front of the skid steer, and it stacks them on the trailer. So you go out there and pick up 10 bales, stack them on the trailer, stack them on top of that, and then, so they didn't really have to physically work too terribly hard. Of course, it's out in that hot heat. Anything you do out there is not fun, but they got the equipment to do it this year, and they did it themselves. So anyway, they did a good job. They got it. I think they got around 400 bales, something like that. Maybe a little more than that, actually. Well, Friday night, I'll just start telling you what I did over the weekend. Friday night, I went to a jam at the Houston House. We had a good time. Everybody seemed to enjoy it. Pretty big crowd, actually. That jam has been going on since the 70s. And it's been moved to multiple locations, but it's the same jam. And I hosted it for 5 or 6 years myself. And I hosted it at the Doolittle Firehouse. But anyway, let's see, moving on. I had to Saturday morning, the first thing I had to do was fabricate a fix for the 3-point hay rake. The PTO connection that goes up to the tractor was on its last leg. It hadn't broken yet, but I could see it was going to break. So I worked on that. That took me till nearly, I think it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon or 2 o'clock before we actually could use it to rake the hay. Of course, you don't usually rake hay early in the morning anyway because of the dew. So, I was only maybe an hour later start or maybe 2 hours later start than they were planning on. But it got the hay raked at least, and it didn't break. It worked out real good. Then I fixed the axle on the Ranger. While I was fixing the axle on the Ranger, I thought it's time to make this video on this Vevor torque wrench. and I did, and I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed at all. I mean, it does what it says it'll do. The torque wrench itself is fine, but because it's digital, you can't read the numbers. You can't, like if you're working on, tighten up lug nuts, for instance, as an example, you can't see the darn thing. It's just not my favorite tool at all. I haven't told Vivor that yet. So there you go. And plus that, it's the numbers that you set for your torque. Like if you want to set 100 foot-pounds of torque or something, they're tiny. They're little bitty, tiny numbers up in the corner, and they're almost under the edge of the screen, if you will. It's like you have to tilt it a certain way to see underneath the edge of the screen to see the numbers. They're way up in the corner. It's bad, really bad. I just am not impressed at all. It's been sitting around for months and months and months and months, and now that I finally did it, it's bad. Well, anyway, so I did that. Then, you saw that I got the laser cutter video out. I got the chair video out. I had to put the chair together and make the video and then produce the video. And the same way with Mary's laptop, I had to fix the laptop. That was actually way faster than I expected on the laptop. Well, by the way, putting the axle in the Ranger was way faster than I expected too. That only took me about 30 minutes. I was amazed. And same way with the laptop. It only took about 30 minutes. The videos is a different story. Especially when you start producing the videos. It took me 3 to 4 hours to produce that video on Mary's laptop. I don't know why it takes so long, but it takes forever. It just eats up your time. You just can't imagine how much time it takes to edit a video. And then, of course, I did the plastic welding on Sue's chair because I knew I was putting in a new computer for her. So I've got her, she's all decked out, new stuff at her computer desk. So I installed a brand new PC for her. Well, I say brand new. It was a PC that I had been using, but it's way better. It's much newer than the one she had and much more powerful. And so I had to install all her software on there, had to remove all her data on there, and there's just a lot to that. And get it all set up where it works, where the sound works, and all that stuff, printers and that whole bit. So I got all that done, and I also spent like $230 to buy a new copy of Microsoft Office because everything's downloaded off the internet now, and I don't know what happened, but I couldn't find our copy of it, and finally I just gave up. I mean, I would look for hours and look for hours, and then I found it after I bought the new one. That's just the Rosa thing. It just happens every single time. It happens every time. And, you can't hardly return software. They won't let you hardly return it because you've already installed it, and they're going to say, well, you installed it. Now you're trying to return it. You can't do that. So, it's just one of them deals. It's just unlucky luck, just like normal. Like I said, on the big things, I'm the luckiest person. On those little stupid things like that, you better look out. I mean, I looked for hours trying to find that software. I couldn't find it. I just gave up. Anyway, I did make a video on the battery charger. I haven't produced it yet. The battery charger it's a little no-name Yonham, I think it is, Yonham. It's got 7-stage charging. It does a desulfication, whatever that word would be. Anyway, I kind of like it. I had an old battery. I thought this would be a good test for it. This old battery, I'd charged it a couple of times, and it wouldn't ever get up to where the test meter, tells you if it's, after it's fully charged, this test meter will tell you if it's any good or not. And so I put that on there, and it was on the edge of weak, but it was still in the green. So, I mean, that's a significant improvement over the previous tests. So it's too soon to say it's a product I'll use. I don't have it on the products I use page, but it might wind up there if, I'll use it some more and see how I like it. But that battery charger is pretty legit right now. I'm pretty tickled with it. I don't know what else. there's just so much stuff. You saw the plastic welding video I put out there, probably. That's a neat skill, actually. That's really pretty cool. If you've never done plastic welding, not very hard. Pretty darn easy, actually. And they make special kits for it, too. They make these kind of kits that you can press the wire down into it, and then you clip the wires off. But honestly, you don't even need that. You can just press screen wire into it like I did, and it works just fine. You could use other kinds of wire too if you wanted to. But anyway, let's see, what else? Have I got anything else here that I was going to tell you about? I didn't make any videos this morning because I didn't have time this morning, because all morning I've been working to get the PC ready. So I guess that's it. Let's go to the comments and see if we've got anything there that we can talk about. I'm still looking to make sure I didn't miss one of my notes, because I always do. I always miss something because I can't read worth a darn. John Pepper was number one. David Tharp was there. David Tharp says, "Hey Jerry, just wanted to say how much that song you played and chirped last Friday morning ministered to me. Thank you." Well, thank you, David, for saying that. I love that song. "Help Is on the Way" is what it's called. It was a big hit for Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver, and I've been playing it for many years. Then I quit playing it because there was a gal in the local area. She sang it all the time at the jams, so I quit doing it because she did. I typically don't want to step on somebody's toes if that's, I've got hundreds of songs I can pull up and play, and where most people have 8 or 10 in these jams, the local jams, and they do the same songs generally over and over at each jam. And so anyway, let's see, moving on down. Carolyn says, "That's what I thought." She says, "Glad you made it." Yeah, me too. I don't know what happened. I seriously don't know what happened. It's the first time it's ever happened. This computer's pretty decked out. It's a pretty top-end computer. It's not the best you can get. You can spend, if you spend infinite amount of money, you can get anything you want. But it's for, a reasonable amount of money. It's about as good as you're going to do. And anyway, it was the first time it's ever given me a trouble. And I don't know. Stuff happens. Let's see, Dottie Hildebrandt, "That song you did Friday talks to your soul. At least it did to me. Thank you." Well, you're welcome. I'm glad that you liked it. That's a really good song. It really is. David Tharp, "My wife wanted to downsize. She said if something just collects dust, get rid of it. Then she got mad at me for selling the vacuum cleaner on eBay." Yeah, that's double talk if you ask me. Let's see. Ronald Todd, "Thank you, Jerry, for all your online instruction. I got my Chili Dipper Mando restored, and my new strings and bridge, etc. Don't like the feel, so have a new F-style coming today." Well, good. Yeah, you'll like that F-style way better. The Chili Dippers are neat to hang on a wall. I mean, honestly, and like I've said, and I do mean this, I'm not just saying it to say something. I mean, they ought to cost a couple $1,000. They got to be one of the hardest instruments to build. But on the other hand, they don't have any sound, at least by comparison. They got their own sound. Baroque-style music, they probably sound just fine for that. But when you're trying to play country bluegrass stuff, they just don't really do it. David Tharp, "When you start taking requests for the live jam, I request Help Is on the Way." Well, we'll do that for sure. And Yolanda singing "Crazy." Well, we'll see if that works out. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to work out or not. It just so happens that Yolanda has her roller derby practice on the same nights, and she always has to leave there early or something to come here. So I don't know if that'll work out or not, but we'll see. It scrolled on me. I'm finding my way. Simon Jardine, I've a near identical mower to the one you were given. It stopped for no reason. The battery has a level indicator saying it's fully charged. I'm lost as to what to do next. Any suggestions? Well, it's usually, almost all those kinds of things are usually much more simple than most people think. Just like this problem here this morning. I don't know what it was, but I'll bet it was some little minor something. Somehow or another, the computer finally decided to make it work. I don't know what it was, but I don't know if I have any real good suggestions on that because it'd be kind of difficult. I haven't ever taken anything like that apart or anything. The one we have, Sue really likes it. She's using it all the time, and she just likes it. So I don't have any suggestions right now. I mean, there's ways to test stuff, but I don't know how deep you're into testing electronics with meters and things. But I don't know. You probably need to find out which connections are the positive, negative like that, and see if you're getting continuity and that type of thing. That might be one thing to check. I don't know. Just don't know. Maybe a wire's broken somewhere. I don't know. Rob Reynolds, what kind of chair is it, Jerry? Well, the company's name is Koorbier, Koorbiir. They sent me the first one, and it got just mangled in shipping. I mean, the shipping box was ripped to pieces. The first one came all the way from China because at that time they didn't have them on Amazon. And so they shipped it all the way, and of course it took the brunt. And this headrest was missing, and the lower lumbar down here that you can't really see, tilt it down, this lower lumbar thing down here was busted. And that's under a lot of tension. Well, the whole thing's under a lot of tension because that fabric is stretched across there. And it's just really comfortable fabric. It just feels perfect. It molds to you, and it's at least as comfortable of any desk chair I've ever had. It really is. Anyway, it's on the products I use page now because, again, I don't put everything out there. You may think I do, but I don't. If I don't like it, I don't put it out there. And like that torque wrench is got very little chance of making it out there unless I find I'm doing something stupid, and find out that it's better than I think it is. But right now, I mean, it does what it says it does, but it's awkward to use, really awkward to use. Very poor design, in my opinion. Again, you've heard me say there's no excuse for a poor design, and it's got a poor design. Let's see. Michael Peters, do you use Windows 11? Yeah, actually, several of my computers, I think I have 2 on 11 and 2 on 10. I think this one's on 11. I think Sue's new one's on 11. I think the 2 down in the shop, I think, are on 10, but I don't know. I can't keep track. Let's see. Sidecar Bob won't be there tomorrow because we're going to a senior seminar. I guess they'll teach us how to be old. Won't be here tomorrow. I can't read. Let's see. It scrolled on me again. Doggone it. Christia Thomason. Hey, Jerry, if you decide to make ornaments on your fancy new laser cutter, I'd for sure like to have one. And I always need a phone holder. Yeah, well, that you may have seen that comment that someone put out there, and I said, and my answer to it was, wow, that's a really good idea. I could make, in fact, this deal here, it actually already holds the phone pretty well, believe it or not. It's a little narrow. The base is narrow, but the angle is perfect. It holds it really good. And if we had, what I probably will do, because it's hard to machine a a slot in there. I mean, it's not hard. It's just time consuming, and it's a slow process. What I might do instead is put some sort of a little piece of wood across there that would be laid on top to, as a lip to keep it from pushing off. Just make a little bit bigger base, put a little lip across the front here so it can't slip off like that. It's pretty much a done deal already. So I really think that's a good idea, and I may put those out on the, I'll put that out on the website. It's just getting to it. It's just finding the time is all. But it's a great idea. I really like it. In fact, I'll be using one myself. David Thorpe, wouldn't it be ironic if Popeye's chicken was cooked in olive oil? Yeah, that'd be bad, wouldn't it? Michael Peters, love the plastic welding video. I was excited about the possibilities of fixing something plastic. Yeah, there's all kinds of things that have broken over the years. I'm not lying. I can't even think of one specific thing, but I've had gazillions of things break that were plastic over the years. And for the most part, you just toss them, or you say, oh, you don't need that part anyway, and throw it away, that kind of thing. And yeah, it's really not that hard to do either. And it is a lot like metal welding. It's really very much like it in that if you don't succeed on that first attempt, you just kind of keep going after it and it'll work eventually if you just keep throwing more plastic at it. Let's see, Simon again. Some rechargeable batteries won't charge from zero. You can force a little charge in them from another battery. You got that right. I've done that a bunch of times. Yeah, especially some of these newer smart chargers, they won't charge a battery. I've got a couple of those down there in the shop, and they'll say, oh, it's bad. And then I just take it over to the regular battery charger, stick it on there for, 15 minutes or something, put it back on the other one, it charges it right up. Yep. Yeah, smart chargers. Sometimes they're kind of dumb. Ronald Todd, speaking of Doyle Lawson actually, I watched him Saturday night, and he was playing the same chord progressions that you taught on the Thursday. Yeah, it's a common chord, but there's a lot let me explain this some way that'll make sense. A lot of the really good players, well, like Sierra Hull, you can watch her. She'll make that chord occasionally, but she makes a lot of weird chords. The really good players, they know that fretboard left and right, upside down, sideways. I'm not that guy. I mean, I know it well, but I don't know like they know it, and they'll make 14 kinds of different chords. They probably know 7 ways to make a G chord, you know what I mean? And I know maybe 2 or something. And the point is, there are easier ways to make the chords. There's no doubt about that. But that's not what I'm going for here. What I'm going for is uniformity, keeping it all the same, keeping it very simple. I know the chord's not simple, but you know what I mean. The concept is simple because it's all one shape no matter where you put it down. And every single thing you do on the mandolin, when you do it like I've shown you, every single thing you do is relative from where you start. In other words, say you've spent all this time learning a song in G, and then you get to the jam and everybody says, no, we don't do that in G. We do that in, A. Well, fine. You can switch to A and you'll be able to do it because you'll know exactly what to do to change it to A, because everything's relative from where you start. So if you start in A, you'll still do exactly the same thing that you did when you were in G. It's just that you're further down the neck. So it's a real simple concept. And that's why I'm saying stick with what I'm doing. Don't try to compare it to 14 other things you've already seen somebody else do. Just do what I'm telling you, and until we get through with it. And then after it soaks in and you go, okay, now I understand it, then fine. Just jump out and do whatever you want to do. Make your minors a different way. Make everything. I don't care. But the point is you'll learn so much about music and how the chords relate to one another that you would have never seen any other way once we get into this. All right, beat that to death. Let's see. It scrolled on me several times while I was talking, so I don't know where I was at. David says, we enjoyed all 47 videos you put out over the weekend. I felt like it. It felt like it. I almost put the other one out there on the battery charger too, but the battery charger one, I don't know, I might do some more on it because I kind of feel bad that I'm not recommending it on the products I use page, at least not yet, because I don't feel like I've got enough experience with it. One charge does not do it, but even though it charged a really bad battery, so I don't know. David Thorpe, one man got hit several times by his son's bike. It was a vicious cycle. Basscut 73. Hey, Jerry. My great-grandmother's brother was Clyde Moody. Would love to hear you do Shenandoah Valley of Virginia. Well, let's see. I guess I better start writing them down here. Let me add a page on my deal here. It's just easier to type them, really. I can't write where the darn. I don't know if anybody knows that tune or not. And that was Bass Cat 73. Man, you guys don't make it easy on this at all. I bet you're a bass fisherman. Let's see. Or a catfish fisherman. Or both. Or you love cats, one of the two. Let's see. Bruce Moore, could you do Stormy Deep at your next jam? I'm not sure. I don't even know what these tunes are. Stormy Deep. Is it a bluegrass tune or a country tune? I mean, if it's some other genre, there's a chance we probably just won't know it. And that was Bruce Moore. And I know we had help was on the way. And it was David Thorpe. And I'll put Dottie too. Let's see. Moving down here. Chipwood, how's the wheels working out on the mower? Would like to see at least a picture of them all set up. I'm not sure I know what you're talking about. Are you talking about that little electric mower? Oh, the rollers. Yeah, when you say wheels, I think of one. You're like Sue. She says wheels too, and I said, well, what are you talking about? Wheels, rollers. Yeah, it may be that I'm splitting hairs, but on the other hand, rollers are rollers and wheels are wheels, at least in my line of thinking. Rollers just have a single hole through them, generally speaking, and wheels are bolted on. But anyway, trying to think, has she really used it any yet? I don't think she has, because I think I put those on there right after she cut it the last time, and I don't think she's actually cut with them on there yet. But I'll try to remember to do a follow-up on that. Let's see. Lost my place again. It keeps jumping this morning. All right, I think I found my place. Here we go. Chipwood, when does this old enough to know get better? When does this old enough to know better start? Well, I don't know. It's old enough to know better. Start. I got you now. I like I said, it's hard for me to read stuff. It just is. But anyway, it's never started on me, and it probably never will. Old enough to know better. George Sweep. Great shirt. I got to borrow your saying. Yeah, it can't fix it. It can't fix stupid, but it can sure muffle the sound. I think that's one of my favorites. Oh, George Sweep, thank you very kindly for that. We really do appreciate that. And I'll write that down here that you donated that, because otherwise I might forget to include that. I always divide it all up with the band. And as I've said before, and I shouldn't say this because it's kind of like biting the hand that's feeding you, and I get that, but YouTube takes 30% of donations, all of them, super chats, everything. They take 30%, where PayPal is like 3%. So if you can make your contributions via PayPal, I'm not going to tell you not to. Let's see. George, okay, yeah, read that one. Christia Thomason, full disclosure, I made the comment on the video about the ornaments and the phone holder. Oh, you're the one. Okay, all right. Well, thank you. I don't know, for some reason I was thinking that it was a man that had made that comment. I don't know why. I thought it was. But I do so many things and I read so poorly. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. So sorry about that, Christia. Okay, Terry Hackard. Let's see, found a Mando on eBay, $45, neck broken at the heel and poorly glued, no bridge. I suppose I can repair it. Your mandolin course will be over. Yeah, that sounds like that's a tough repair right there. Plus, I mean, well, it depends on what it is. I mean, if it's a Gibson mandolin, I'd say go for it. If it's a I don't know, what's that other word? I can't think of that brand now that I always talk about. If it's one of those $45 brand from, if to start with, then I'd say no, don't bother. You can buy a lot of cheap mandolins out there that would get you by, for under $100. And I can see the name and I can't say it. I don't know. It's terrible with me and names. Ben Boyd, would it be hard to make a metal kitchen spatula in the shape of a mandolin head? Well, metal, I mean, it depends on the tooling you have. If you got the right tooling, it wouldn't be too difficult. But I could for sure do it in wood with that laser cutter. It wouldn't take nothing. But the problem quite honestly, the problem would be cleaning it. If you used the full F-style head with those scrolls and things, because they cut way in there. I mean, you could leave those solid, but it wouldn't look quite the same. Dottie says she would buy a phone holder. Well, I think that sounds like a product that would probably sell, and I don't know. Again, quite honestly, I don't want this to sound like I'm greedy for money, because I could care less. I really could. But on the other hand, your time is valuable, and I don't have very much time. And if you can't sell them for a decent amount of money, the shipping, it's such a hassle. It's really a hassle. It's a hassle to make them. It's a hassle to put them together. It's a hassle to ship them. And I mean, I like the idea. I really do. It's just that I don't know if it's worth doing. It's it's just one of those deals. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody but me. But man, it's when you got so much to do already. You know what I'm saying? It just needs to be worth doing. Moving on down here. Let's see. What is that very thin plywood you use? Jeff Puris is asking. And actually, I just bought that off of Amazon. They just laser cutter plywood is, I think, all I looked up, and you can get it in different thicknesses. I think one of them is 3 millimeter and the other one is 6 millimeter, which is basically 1/8 and 1/4. I mean, it's real close to that. And those are 400 millimeters square, which there's, I don't know. I don't know how big that is in inches. I'm trying to think. I've forgotten now, quite honestly. Hugh O'Connor, request with Body and Soul or Tennessee 49. I do Body and Soul. I haven't done it in a long time. The band won't remember it. But I like Body and Soul. That's a cool song. We've done Tennessee 49, I think, the last 2 shows, so maybe Body and Soul would be a good one. And I'll put down here